Good day, one and all. Welcome to Canadian music in the 80s and 90s and more. Thanks for watching and subscribing if you can. This is something I've been waiting for a long time. I'm very happy to welcome Terry David Mulligan to my little show here. Thank you very much for joining me today.
Hi, Alan. I've watched a bit. I watched your Bill Walitzki interview just to do some research on you because you appeared out of nowhere for me. Uh, was this in lieu of the podcast? Is in lieu of a career in radio that you were going to have at one point?
No, it's just something I started doing for fun.
That's good because then you're working for yourself.
Yeah, I started helping two guys out run a Stompin' Tom fan club on Facebook, and I started interviewing people that played in Tom's band over the year, and I had fun with it, so I started my own.
Okay.
Um, so, and I had a great time doing it. And
So and I'll tell you going in, Alan. This is an experiment for me because I'm always on the other side doing the interviews. I love the deep dive and getting into it. So this is me answering questions I may not have answers for.
yeah,
Okay. Good luck.
but I've learned a lot from you over the years from watching you, so you've taught me well. Uh, First of all, let's start. I mean, I know of you as the host of Good Rocking Tonight to start with as a teenager. But I imagine you got started in radio broadcasting at first. Like when did your career in doing stuff like this start?
Now, my career started when I was a Mountie in Red Deer, Alberta. I was a West Coast guy, but the only place the Mounties were going to send me was somewhere else. So I ended up in Red Deer. And there was a disc jockey in Red Deer named Hal Weaver, who ended up being on Chum. Actually, he was the best. He was the best with a great big voice, the kind of voice that all of us loved to hear. And he and I became friends. And he said, I think you want to do this, don't you? I said, well, I don't know. And this was 63, 64. The British invasion was in full tilt. So every day there was a single from the Kinks, the Who, the Animals, the Beatles, the Stones, all of them at the same time, one after the other. And I was just drawn to the radio station CKRD like a magnet. And I found Hal Weaver doing a remote at A&W, and I talked his ear off and said, let me try something. So I came in and I did an audition. I just did a tape, and it was terrible. It was awful. But he said, no, okay, I think he could do this. So he held my hand and walked me through it, and eventually I ended up I got a job offer from CKRD, and I phoned my father and said, "Well, Dad, I'm going to leave the RCMP to do what? I'm going to be a disc jockey, Dad." And he hung up. Took a couple of years to get him back again. Anyway, so that's where it all started. So I started at CKRD Red Deer, and then I was just had this engine building in me. And I went to CFAC Calgary, and they changed format. And the only place I could work at that point who would to have me was CJME in Regina, 5,000 watts, but it went forever out there. And then CKCK Regina, and that's when Red Robinson, the king of rock and roll on the West Coast, phoned me and said, "Do you want to come home?" I said, "Yes." So I ended up at CFUN and then CKLG, and eventually, along with a couple other guys, started what became CFOX, underground radio, actually in '67.
Wow, that's
And and actually, after I had Much West, I'm giving you the whole thing. As I was working for Much West, and I was working for Moses Neimer at City Much. And Moses phoned me. He rarely phones me. And he phoned me and said, "I want you to go do a story on CKUA in Alberta. They have been supporting us to have a television station in Alberta, and I want to thank them and to go and do a story." And when I got there, I realized that this was the station that I'd heard when I was a Mountie, listening in my car to the jazz and the blues and all the stuff that they were playing, stuff you couldn't get anywhere else, and donor supported. And I spent the day there doing the interviews. And as I walked out, I said, "This is exactly how I hear radio in my head, the best of all of the stuff, blues next to rock and roll, next to show tunes, whatever. If you ever have room for a show, let me know. And eventually we worked it out, and that's I'm going into year 30 in November.
Wow, that's
30
amazing.
years, 30 years of doing it, and I've been playing 2 hours of music every Saturday for 30 years, and they have never said, "Why did you play that?"
Wow,
30 years, and the station celebrates its 100th year on the air in 2027. 100 years, the oldest station in Canada. It is the most incredible radio station, music station you've ever heard. CKUA. That's what I do.
there's not a lot of freedom to do that these days in radio, is there?
Creative freedom, Alan. You can't buy creative freedom. You either have it or you don't. They either give it to you or you don't. And people walk away from stations because creative freedom is stilted, is crammed into a box. And I'm just putting my show together now. I'm just before we got in touch with one another. I'm looking at the tunes that I want to play and the stuff that was most important to us. And so just an example, just a small example. Last Saturday's Stu, Bob Dylan, crossing the Rubicon. Neil Young, only love breaks your heart. Jesse Roper, Tara Lightfoot, Bahamas, Dr. John live at the Village Gate, Cat Stevens, Ronnie Wood, the Arkells, the Hip, Tedeschi Trucks Band live, the band, Steve Earle, Stones, Magic Sam, Chrissy Hine and Katie Lang, and a couple more. Indian City. So what was it? You sent me? Oh yeah, Van Morrison live. Brandy Carlisle, and John Mann and the All Stars at Commodore Ballroom. So that's kind of how it rolls.
That's a classic group of bit of music you just announced there. Like
That's why we call it Mulligan Stew. It's just a stew. It's everything from everywhere.
that's amazing. It's just rare, so rare in radio these days.
I know.
There will be a link to this in my description in this YouTube video, by the way.
Yeah.
So anyone wants to tune into that because it's incredible. So when did you were on Good Rockin' Tonight for how long?
2.5, 3 years.
And then how did you wind up over at Much?
Well, I knew we had a hit show, and somebody at the CBC they weren't quite sure. And I said, "Have you looked at because in those days it wasn't email, it was letters,
Yeah.
letters coming up, hundreds and hundreds of letters, and we knew we had a hit." And CBC, and I asked for more money, and they said, "No, I don't think so."
Yeah.
And so I just said, "That's it," and I took a chance. I was in Toronto doing something. I phoned Moses Neimer and said, "I'm your competition, and I think I would be a great addition to your staff. I know what I'm doing. I'm fit in seamlessly, and I'm self-contained. I'm my own producer. I'm my own editor. Well, not really, but I'm my own producer, my own host, my own interviewer. I can hand you stuff from the West Coast, and you actually can then call yourself the nation's music station."
Yeah.
Because that's what they were doing. I said, "You're not. You're not the nation's music station. You're Toronto's music station. But you could be the nation's if you give us a camera and let's go." So that's what we did.
Yeah, I loved watching Much Best. It was because I mean, like we talked a bit before I started recording here, Vancouver was hot from the mid 80s up until like not just with Canadian music, but all the big acts were coming to Vancouver to record. Like as Little Mountain Sound and Mushroom Studios was hot, and you were there right in the middle of it.
Mushroom Studios, Heart. They did their first album there, the one that started their career, and they were constantly in trouble. Couldn't pay their bills. They were always getting they were doing gigs in Vancouver, and the guys were always getting bombed and getting thrown in jail and stuff. It was just ridiculous. But it was a great time, an incredible time to be in and around that station.
Yeah, I mean, you got me into a lot of the local stuff too. Like, I mean, I became the biggest Spirit of the West fan because of Much West. They're still today my favorite band of all time, and I've become good friends with them as well. Like, I've gotten to know them over the years. I saw them every time they came to the Toronto area because that's where I grew up. Um, and just not just a great band, but great people.
I think of
Um,
John Mann. I think of John Mann a lot. That's why I played Home for Arrest. It was all of us at the Commodore Ballroom, Barney Bentall and Jim Cuddy and the guys from everybody was there, and they were all there to honor John. Now John was on stage with us, but he was in a condition mentally where he was sort of floating in an ether. He was John Mann, but he wasn't. He lost his facilities, and was singing the lyrics that he could remember, and he had free reign on the stage, and we sang his songs. It was fantastic, and thank God we recorded a single for it and raised money to help with his care.
yeah, I kind of bring this up quite a bit, but I find it interesting, well, not interesting, sad that in 2016 we lost the Tragically Hip, Spirit of the West, and Rush all in the same year because of illnesses in the band.
Yeah,
And I lumped Spirit of the West in there as important to Canadian music as the other two bands. I really do.
I know. And now to this day, every day you, if you're a music fan, you dread looking at the headlines on your screen, the news of who's passed away or who's holding on by the fingernails, you know. And so rather than let it get me down, I remind people of who we're losing and what we're losing by playing the music and telling stories.
Well, I spoke to Vince Dittrich not long ago, and he even said that's a level of Canadiana we'll never see again.
Yeah,
You know, it's just it doesn't exist anymore. And I can't help but agree with him all the way. But I mean, I've gone to see Jeffrey Kelly here in PEI with the Irish Rovers because he tours with them still. And I had a great chat with him afterwards, and it's great to see that he's still making music. And I think that's what I like to cover on my channel more than anything, that all these artists are still making music today. Like Barney Bentall is making some of the best music I've ever heard today. Like he's still at it and still making amazing music.
well, he has stepped back just a bit because he has a great ranch up at the 108 Mile Ranch up in the Chilcotin country, north of Kamloops, and he loves it up there. He can write, he can record up there. He's got everything he needs. Whether he'll come back is a whole nother thing because he's put a into his music. But I mean, I just am editing my interview with Greg Keeler and Jim Cuddy from Blue Rodeo, who've become friends over the years, and I did them separately only because Jim was available, Greg wasn't, and I couldn't wait for the two of them to hook up. So um, we just did them separately, and I'm trying to decide whether to put it all together or just let Jim in the first hour and Greg in the second. Anyway, we're just talking about the 40 years. How do you possibly encapsulate how those 40 years go? All those gigs, all those miles, all those waking up in a hotel room, you have no idea where the hell you are. All the music that's been made, and all the people we've lost along the way as mutual friends, you know, including Gord and the Hip.
Yeah, yeah, it's sad to think about, but I mean it's great that their music has not died off. Like I mean I can still hear Spirit of the West on the radio every day. The
Yeah.
Hip, and it seems Rush is getting back together and doing something. They're going on tour again, which is great to see.
See, Alan, my job at much Mulligan Stew at CKUA, too many shows, and my job is to blend, not get hung up in the classics.
Yeah,
Bring today's artists who can mesh with the Hip, who can mesh with
yeah,
Rush, who can mesh with Brian Adams, and who are an extension of what they set out to do.
right.
Although Adams will never come off the road, he's just not. He's managing himself. But I can't just play the classics, and I
Right.
can't. I need to put this generation together with this generation and see what we get. That's what I'm doing.
And I think that needs to be done. Like it really does.
Otherwise, you're living in the 60s and 70s, and we're not. We're where we are now. But every once in a while, we'll see this once a week, once every 2 weeks. You'll see an article that says the power of music in this day and age, where everything is changing. All the normals are changing. Music still, you can center yourself with music, with the right music. You can't miss it. It'll settle you down. It'll give you clarity. It's amazing.
And at the territorial thing too, like you said, you told Moses Neimer you need a West Coast affiliate because it does make you the mainstream music station. And then you've got Much East came out of that too, which I'm out on the East Coast here, and there's a total territorial music scene out here too that is amazing to discover. Um,
And Mike Campbell's running the Carlton, the room in Halifax. He's booking it, and he's writing an incredible in-house newsletter that's the history of Canadian music and maritime music in particular, because he knows his stuff. So it's the Carlton. It's a great room.
Yep. I've interviewed Kevin from the Grapes of Wrath a few times, and he's actually a Nova Scotian now. Recently, I don't know how long he moved. It's been
He's been
since
there
he
a while.
moved. Yeah. But he's come to Charlottetown a few times, and it blows my mind that I can sit in a room like the Trailside in downtown Charlottetown and see the Grapes of Wrath on stage.
Wait a minute. Are you? I'll have the grapes of story in a second. Are you? You're in Charlottetown.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What's the Charlottetown sound?
It's a lot of everything, to be honest with you. Like most would assume it's just Celtic music and fiddle music, but there's a
Fiddles.
lot more to it than
Okay.
you think. I mean, there's a hip hop scene, there is, a rock scene. It's
Give me the name of a band that I should keep an eye out for.
keep an eye out for it. Campbell and Johnston. They're not
Okay.
they're kind of a PEI band. They're based out of Nova Scotia, but the girl's actually from Charlottetown. Um, they're like a blues-based rock, and they're just incredible.
Perfect. I'm a
They're
roots guy. That's good.
Yeah, I think you'd really get a kick out of them. They're just an amazing, amazing talent.
I dig
It's
that.
a husband and wife. It's a husband and wife, but they're just incredible.
I've known the Grapes of Wrath for many, many years, and I finally got them together to do an interview, and we talked for 40 minutes, and then at the end of it, Kevin said, "This is the first time that we've been together to do an interview in 10 years. Thank you for doing this." And I thought, I said, well, good. Maybe it'll set something in motion. You guys will stop talking about being the grapes and actually be the grapes. So that's what they are. They're a lot more dates.
And you've probably been covering them since the beginning.
Right? Yep. Yep.
Like you've known them since they were just a young band. But I mean, I think it's great that I can see them out here in Charlottetown in a small room like the
Okay.
Trailside, and they sound as great today as they did in their heyday.
Yeah.
And I was very excited to see and meet them, and they're just as nice as people as
Okay. So the interviewer in me is coming out. Who's caught your ear or eye from the West Coast lately?
lately. Um, I'm not sure. Um, I kind of been mostly concentrating on what I've been seeing here in the East Coast. I've only been living here for 6 years. I was born and raised in Ontario.
But I mean, the Maritimes is filled is nothing but music. It's music morning, noon, and night.
Oh, it's we have a festival here at Cavendish every year called Somo Fest, and that's where I get a lot of my new music from because they had Alanis Morissette headlining this year, but they had a lot of bands that I discovered that are fantastic, like just some great bands. Um, and I associate with a friend back in Ontario named Ed Sousa. He puts on these McBowl charity concerts for Ronald McDonald House,
Yeah.
and he brings back Honeymoon Suite, The Spoons, The Box. He had Midge in this year. Just an amazing collection of artists. A band that I really like that you might want to check out. They're called 416.
Okay.
The leader is originally from St. John, New Brunswick, actually, but it's spelled out 416. Um,
Okay.
But
Uh,
they did they played at the McBowl series, and they had the singer from 8 Seconds come up and sing "Kiss You and It's Dangerous" with them. Like it was just an incredible evening. Like and he puts these on every year. Ed really does good shows. Um,
isn't it a shame that there's no much music? I mean, there is, but there isn't.
it really is. And the thing I miss about Much Music is, and the thing I loved about Much Music is, you guys made superstars out of Canadian acts. You really did. Like you mixed them in with everybody, and I thought they were as big as superstars as everybody else was.
Well, for Canada, you have to drive 1,500 miles to your next gig. But with Much Music, you just get into rotation. All of a sudden, there's people seeing you, and you can build a base with that. People say, get that band right there. Get those guys. That's what Much Music did. It was a welcome mat for the Canadian, and the really good ones attacked it and went at it direct and really hammered at it. Got surrounded themselves with really good camera people to shoot their stuff, live stuff in studio, just goofing around, and just fed the machine.
The one thing I will never forget, I hope you don't mind me bringing this up. I'm still to this day, fresh in my mind, will never forget the night you were in Toronto and you had Jeff Healey and Colin James jam together.
Oh yeah,
That was one of the most unforgettable moments in music for me as a
I
teenager.
still play that on my show.
It was incredible. I couldn't believe those two. Like, I mean, Colin James is from out west, Jeff Healey's a Toronto boy, and they both sat there and just
The thing is, I can't quite yet know. I still don't know the answer to the question. Did I invite Colin and he brought Jeff, or did I invite Jeff and he brought Colin? I think I invited Jeff and he brought Colin. Colin was in town, and they were great friends. And oh man, they played together. Oh my God. Um, and there's a Jeff Healey documentary coming in March,
okay.
February, March. It's really good. It's really good. I've seen it.
That's the other thing I wanted to ask you about too. There's been a lot of great documentaries recently about great Canadian bands that, I mean, the Spirit of the West documentary, I'm sure you've seen that. That was unbelievable. I was really impressed by the Doug and the Slugs documentary.
It was really good, wasn't it?
It was a different angle on it, coming from the girl who grew up next door to them. I was best friends with Doug's daughter. Like that was an amazing angle.
And she was the director, so there's all of that. Uh,
The Blue Rodeo one was excellent. I really enjoyed that. Have you seen Sarah McLachlan's Lilith Fair one yet?
I have seen it. I was asked to. I'm a Critics' Choice Association in Los Angeles, and we just had our documentary awards last night, Sunday night, in New York City. I wasn't there, but I screened hundreds of documentaries all summer long, and uh, I think that the music documentary winner was Becoming Led Zeppelin, which I thought
Oh,
was
right.
really cool. I interviewed the director and the producer. Uh, they decided, because there's Led Zeppelin, there's the career. They said, no, 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 we're just going to do the 18 months between when they first met and when they released that first album. Just the 18 months, because everything else exploded from that. We know the rest of that story. This is who they were before they became that.
Right.
And the other documentary I did is a mockumentary. I interviewed the guys from Spinal Tap. Great fun. And Marty DeBerge, the director, and had really great fun with those guys. They're in character, so I just had fun with it.
Yeah. That there's a sequel coming out soon, isn't there? I thought it was supposed to be
They
out
just
by now.
they just released it.
I can't wait to see that because the first one is such a great sense of humor about the industry. Um, the other thing I want to ask you is I had the pleasure of interviewing a couple of times. I've interviewed mid-year, and I had the pleasure to talk to him about Band-Aid.
Yeah,
And I know I've seen a video on YouTube of the making of Tears Are Not Enough, and I know you were there.
yeah.
What was your take on seeing that record being made?
Well, I know we wanted to get it done because there was one happening in Los Angeles, but we had our own music community. We had more than enough people to invite,
Oh yeah.
and David Foster and I have been friends a long time, and he was producing it and had co-written it with Brian Adams. And he said, I just be in Toronto. Come, let's go, let's go, let's go. So I've spent 2 or 3 days there. But I was told that they were working on a deal with, I think, CBC, and I couldn't take a camera in with me. And Moses and I went crazy and said, wait a minute, you've got the story. You're sitting there, you're in the story, and you don't have a camera. Well, because they made a deal with the CBC.
Right.
So I'm in there for half a second, and I still remember Brian or David Foster, who can hear the actual note that's being sung, whether it's up or down or midway. And he says to Neil Young, "Yeah, you're a little flat on that one." He said, "That's my sound, man. That's my sound." Uh, there's lots of moments like that in my life that I only remember when I start to talk about it, or you mention something, and it'll come alive. Robbie Robertson, who I'd been friends with for years, invited me to go to San Francisco, to be in San Francisco for the last waltz. I really didn't know what I was stepping into, but the closer I got to the moment, I realized I was a really, really, really lucky guy to be standing in that room from sound check on, and not being thrown out. Had all the laminates I needed, and just watched it all go down.
Wow, that does see. This is what I've been looking forward to, is to hearing these stories from you, because you've been there, and you've been at it for a long time. And it's just I could talk to you for hours about what you've done and what you've seen. It's incredible. Like, I mean, like I said, I've been a big fan of Much West for a long time, and just the way I'm a fan of the way Much was. I wish it could still be like that.
It's hard to describe, isn't it? It was free form. There were no scripts. There was
Yep.
maybe a starting point. Maybe you would make a deal before the cameras went on, saying, "Okay, at quarter past, we'll go to a commercial, or quarter past, we'll play a video." Other than that, you fill that 15 minutes. You just go. I can remember walking into Much Music. I was there. I was just passing through. I was doing something else in Toronto, and I walked into the main room, and I heard one of the producers say, "There's one." And one of their VJs hadn't shown up. So they were desperate for a VJ, anybody to come on camera and get them started, because they're starting their 9 a.m. run or 11 a.m. run, whatever it was. And so, I love that. There's one. That's all they cared about. We need someone to talk into a camera. Him, you. What's your name? Mulligan. Over there. There we go.
And they did that. They gave people a chance that
Well,
otherwise wouldn't have gotten a chance anywhere else.
they hired the right people. They had people who could do it, who did it really well.
And I always found that the VJs were not just promoting the Canadian talent. You guys were actually friends with them.
Oh yeah.
You knew them like intimately, and
It went,
they knew they could count on you to
yeah,
help their career along.
because it also showed in the conversations in the interviews. If you're friends, you can set aside other stuff and just talk, just have a conversation. That's what we did. It wasn't Q&A, although we did a lot of Q&A with cards and stuff. But for the most part, it was just talk. You know, like I'm like me and Colin James and Jeff Healy. We're just riffing. It's
Yeah,
it's an extension of what they were playing. They were just riffing two blues tunes.
yeah,
But we just riffed the dialogue back and forth, and it was shortened up. I wish I could see the whole thing, but anyway, it's beautiful.
yeah. Colin's coming out here, I think, in the next week or so to do the blues trio
I saw
thing that
that.
he's been doing, and I'm really hoping I can get out to see that, because it's just incredible stuff. I've seen him many times over the years in Ontario when he used to come around, but and I've met him a few times. I didn't realize how short he was in person until I saw him in person.
He is, yeah, that won't endear you. Uh, he is an incredible guitarist, like really good. Do you know how he got discovered?
No.
He's in Regina. He gets chosen to open for Stevie Ray Vaughan on his first time through Canada. Stevie hears him, comes out and plays with him. He says, he's kid, you were great. He was 14, 15, something like that. And it was Stevie that got Colin's career started. Took him on the road with him, taught him how to play the licks, all that stuff that you can't possibly learn unless you've been playing guitar half your life, you know.
Yeah, and I think he's as good of a singer as he is a guitar player anyway, but that's just
He's a
my
great singer.
opinion. He's a fantastic, soulful singer. Like, I mean, and he's sang just about every kind of music I can think of.
Everything. And he's got the big band coming. They're getting the band back together, the big band.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
Big band with horns and stuff. Yeah.
Wow. Man, I could talk to you all day, Terry, and I really appreciate you joining me. And I've interviewed your counterpart from Good Rockin' Tonight, Stu Jeffries, as well. And it's just guys like you and Stu. You've been around the industry so long. You got so much insight that I want to hear.
I watched his, I see the posts go by. I stay in touch with him. Uh, he's in Toronto. I'm here. We'll probably never see each other again, but we stay in touch. We have
Right.
mutual friends, you know.
Do you stay in touch with any of the other Much Music VJs that you worked with?
Mike Campbell,
Hmm.
Mike Rhodes, if I can find him. Um, uh, every once in a while, Erica and I will hook up. Master T and I stay in touch on socially. They're all back there, and I'm here. I'm all by myself. I'm on Vancouver Island. I'm as far away from you as I could possibly be.
Yeah.
Canada.
It's a long distance, but it's amazing that we can do this. Like
Yep.
talk. I like the technology today for reasons like this because I can actually sit here and interview yourself. And I interviewed Rick Emmett not long ago, doing this because it's not as easy to do in person these days.
Yeah.
But man, can't thank you enough, Terry. I really appreciate you joining me. Um,
Let's
it
do part two.
We should. I would totally be up for that.
Well,
Um,
we got to pick got to pick a an era without getting maudlin about it. Do we talk about the '60s?
well, I was hoping to get into this. Chris
Oh
Ward's
yes,
book.
yes, of course. Chris Ward.
Yeah, I was hoping to get into that. Well, before I go, the one thing I should tell you about is I watch a guy. One guy I really like to emulate. I don't know if you've seen Adam Breeder, Professor of Rock.
Yeah.
He's got an amazing pod. I love his YouTube channel. He actually just did a thing about Triumph,
Huh.
and he did one about Tom Cochrane, and I was blown away how much this guy knows about Canadian music. Like, I mean, he even talked about Dean Cameron a few times.
Dean Cameron. Wow.
Yeah, he talked about he did a whole story on the Sheriff thing.
Huh.
How Sheriff's song became a #1 hit after how many years. Um, this
I
it
was
was
going
a
through stuff, uh, some boxes, trying to pare down all the stuff, and discovered photos that Tom Cochrane and I took in Africa when
oh
we
that
went when we
that
went with hold on a second for World Vision. We went there twice. It's that's Tom and I. I think there's an elephant. Yeah, there's elephants there. Anyway, that's I don't know where the rest of them are because there are hundreds of them. But I went there with Tom, and then he came back from that trip and wrote "Life Is a Highway." And then I went back with Sarah McLachlan. I'm in the Lilith Fair documentary, but nobody ever told me. I had a buddy say, "You know what? You're in the Lilith Fair documentary 5 or 6, 7 times. They used your interviews. Nobody ever asked me or told me. Never, not a peep." And you notice by the way, I'll just say something about much music.
sure
That documentary that they did on 299 Queen. I'm not in it.
you should, but you should. I was disappointed in that actually.
I'm not in it. How does
Like,
that work?
Yeah, I saw the screening here in Charlottetown when Erica was here, and so was Rick Campanelli. And I watched the documentary. They said nothing about you or Much East, which I thought that was the big part of it, because you covered both ends of the country
Yeah.
by doing that. And I was kind of disappointed in that. I mean, it was a good documentary,
The
don't get me wrong.
nation's music station, the nation's music station,
Yeah,
and West, and everybody in between.
yep,
Bay and Bloor's music station. That's all.
yeah. Well, it sure seemed like it. I mean, the documentary was interesting to watch, and I loved watching it. I just thought there was a lot missing from it. You were missing the whole West and East Coast aspect of it, and that's what I loved about. I mean, I never missed much East and much West because the local aspect of those ends of the country are shouldn't be missed. Because I mean, even the East Coast had an explosion back in the '90s too.
Okay.
With Natalie and Sloan and
Yeah.
Ashley McIsaac, and
Yeah.
it was just amazing stuff. I've become friends with a guy that used to work for EMI named David McMillan.
Okay.
He was very good friends with Dean Cameron, actually. Um,
What's the most what's the rarest recording you have vinyl? Have you got
um,
special?
well, I don't know how rare it is, but back in the '70s, Stompin' Tom Connors did two box sets of songs he never wrote.
Oh wow, cool.
It was all classic country and songs that he grew up on, like the Wilf Carters and Hank Snows, and it's all stuff, and it basically just recorded with him and a bass player.
How much time you got left on your counter?
Oh, I've got all the time in the world if you want it.
Okay, hold on a second. Hold on.
All right.
I'll be right there. I'm coming. I'm coming. I went to the Stones the first time they toured Canada. They
Hmm.
played Winnipeg, and I was in Regina. I went over and did a quick interview and got to meet them. Got them to sign the album that they were touring behind,
Oh, it's incredible.
and they signed it. Of course, I didn't have pens. I just borrowed a pen. Duh.
Right.
And I got Brian Jones' signature, and the only way that you can tell he signed it is because he wrote on his pant leg. So anyway, so I got that guy. I got Art Bergman. I
Oh,
got that one. Hold on a second. I wonder. Oh, here's the one. I'm in Los Angeles. There's a billboard announcing this new band, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, and Sunset Boulevard. And I interviewed him the next day. I thought it just sort of captured LA. And I got along really well with him. Nobody knew who he was. He just had appeared out of nowhere.
hmm.
So that first album took a year and a half to break in the States. It broke in England because they had played England,
Right.
but it took a year and a half for that album to find an audience. In the meantime, they recorded a couple of tracks in a club, Paul's Mall, and put out their own bootleg called Official Live Leg. Right, this one here.
Oh, wow.
They only printed 500 copies, and I got one of them. And Wonder of Wonders, they signed it for me. Well, I did an interview with them, so that I've forgotten that they'd signed it. So, and it's got great tracks on it. As a matter of fact, it's got tracks on one side and no tracks on the other.
Wow.
It's a one-sided album. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Official Live Leg. Anyway,
That is incredible. See, this is why I wanted to interview you for so long because stuff like this. I just know you've got such a um this is what blows me away when I do these interviews. One, I can't believe I'm doing them. Two, it's the the take that some of these people have on the industry. Have you've probably interviewed Rick Emmett a few times.
nope.
Oh, really? I thought you might have for sure, but
Yeah,
um
I can't remember. I don't think so. If I and apologies to Rick if I have have forgotten. I was just moving at a pace that I was silly.
He's a great guy because you ask him a question and he goes off 15 minutes and you're just
Yeah,
like, great, I don't have to work at all.
perfect, perfect, perfect. Oh
And
yeah,
you
come back anytime you want.
and you hang on his every word because you're just fascinated by what he's got to say. You know, guys like that. I had the pleasure of interviewing Mike Bullard before he passed away, who I thought did a lot for Canadian music on his TV show back in the 90s too. I really do. He had a lot of great Canadian acts on his TV show. And he promoted Canadian television and movies, I think, too. So I don't know.
I'm
I
surrounded by photos. I just don't know where they are. I wanted to show you the photo of Janis Joplin and I.
wow, that's incredible.
No, I couldn't find it if I tried. It's behind me.
Wow, great stuff. Yeah, well, just a couple of weeks ago, we went out to Summerside and saw John Prine tribute act,
Okay.
and they were led by Blair Packham from the Jitters.
Oh yeah, nice.
Oh, it was an incredible show. They did nothing but John Prine music for 2 hours.
Well, why not? His he left us incredible songs,
Yeah,
and then
yeah, these guys really enjoyed it. You could tell they were just having so much fun on stage because they're just such big fans of his, every guy in the band. And they just sang, they enjoyed singing every song. So it's kind of fun to watch musicians get excited about something like that.
is it dark out there now?
It very much is. Yeah,
Because
well,
I'm
it's
looking at
it's windy, but it's always windy in the Maritimes. So
can you see the ocean from where you are?
no, no. That's but it's not far away. It's about I don't know, half an hour walk to get to the water. So
All right.
um it's a beautiful island. I don't know if you've ever been out this way before. I'm sure you
I
have.
have, and I was somebody was doing the driving, so I was able to look around, but I needed someone to tell me what I was looking at.
Right.
I think somebody was driving me to a gig. I can't remember. I can't freaking remember this. This is a blur.
Well, I guess that's the joys of aging, isn't it?
Like for example, well, there's that, and just life, fast, the speed at which you're traveling. Um, uh, I just somebody told me that there was an interview with Joni Mitchell that I had done. I said, what do you mean, television? Yeah. Where'd you find it? Oh, it's on YouTube or something. Uh, I mean, how do I not know that I did a television interview with Joni? I mean, I know her. I spent 10 days in a band house with her in Virginia.
Right.
I was kind of the caretaker of the band house. I lived in one half, and whoever was singing at the folk club was the other half. And Joni and I shared the kitchen. Um, how did I not know that I had done a television interview with her when she did her book? I had forgotten. How do you forget stuff like that?
Well, you've done so much. I can't expect you to remember everything you've done. Like,
Well, some things you don't forget. You know.
right.
Yeah.
Terry, I can't thank you enough for joining me. I appreciate it. We will have to do another a part two.
Yeah, we do. We're doing part two.
I'd love to do a part two. That'd be
But
amazing. We'll work it out.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year
Same to you, sir.
to all of you out there. Thank you.
Thank you.